Hey guys, welcome to
Spit and Image Podcast, baby.
with Chad.
And Aurora.
Why don't you guys go ahead real quick and hit that subscribe button and let's get going. What?
You're so funny.
Welcome back to Spit and Image.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
There you go. That's better. That's more like you. Hell yeah, brother. What's going on, brother? Yeah. Excited.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. We're going to just jump right into it, man. I kind of want to just jump right into after the first 9 years of life, because the first 9 years of life I was completely present. I was at every softball game. We were building Hope by the Sea. We had a big family, and I kind of want to jump into that story because I want to see what triggers you and where my relapse and my addiction started affecting you again. Because I think the first 9 years of your life were really beautiful. Totally. And I don't want to discount those at all. It was good times, and I was doing really well. But somewhere along the road, I started doing too well. And I really, for me, if I want to tell you the truth and tell you the story, I started getting away from God. And I started thinking that I could run the show again. And do you remember me doing like episodes of the A&E intervention show?
Yeah.
And it was really big and really popular at the time, and Facebook was brand new.
Everybody, all my friends' parents seen it.
Yeah.
Everyone knew.
So all of my old friends from my old life, and see, I had disappeared. When you were born, I disappeared from my old life completely. Cut off all communication with anybody that I used to know. I have no idea what they thought would happen to me. I had a daughter. I got married, had a son, had 2 new stepdaughters, Hope by the Sea, and the life that everybody dreams of having.
A boat,
all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And my old friends reached out to me. And I remember specifically, we were living in the Mission Viejo house. And I got a phone call from my friend Jay. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, and I'm going to say word for word what he said to me. "I'm about to go into this bitch's house and sell her some shit. I'm right down here in Colton, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, I knew exactly where he was at. I knew exactly the girl's house he was going to. And for a moment in time, I thought that sounded like fun, to not have any responsibilities. And then I snapped out of it. And 2 weeks later, something inside my head triggered, and I decided to try to get loaded one time and get away with it and not get caught. So I told everybody that I was going to a conference up in San Francisco, and it was for the weekend. And I called my buddy Jay, and I said, "Can you get me a 1/4 ounce of meth
for a weekend?"
Because I want to get high. No, because I want to get high one time.
One time.
One time.
That sounds right. That sounds about right.
And I did. So I left, and I got the shit, and I went to Vegas, and I got loaded. And the first one was amazing. And the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the rest of the weekend, I was at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, stuck in a peephole. Ken Seeley from the intervention show, my mom, Cindy, Kelly, everybody was outside of my room. I could hear them. They were out there. They were going to do an intervention on me. So what I thought my relapse was going to be was not even close. That was, I believe that was...
You thought it was going to be MTV music video.
Yeah, I believe that was November of 2009.
No.
So, yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I ended up relapsing. Anyways, long story short, Kelly knew. We told my parents. We didn't tell anybody here, and it just started a cycle. I mean, I got sober for a little bit, went out, then we moved to that house.
Yeah.
And my question is, and I struggled after that for the next like 5-6 years, in and out, and you know that. My question is though, is when do you know for sure that I relapsed?
I knew for sure when Kelly started taking us to like motels to stay in, me and Cooper, and we had to stay there for like weeks.
Yeah.
Felt like weeks at a time because you were in the house and you get crazy. So we couldn't be around you, and that's like when I knew. But I do remember though, I remember we did that thing at the Betty Ford Center.
Yeah, I don't know when that was exactly.
I was in 3rd grade. I
You
know
were in
I was in
third
3rd grade.
I was loaded.
That week?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
When we were staying at that Holiday Inn?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Did I didn't show up to the.
You did show up.
Oh, okay. That must have been then when my dad went that I was loaded.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't think you were loaded.
Yeah, no, okay. I wasn't.
I would have.
Because did I come and you did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did like a thing.
Yeah, I wasn't.
We like had to write each other stuff.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
I was
if
sober.
you were not sober, you would not be writing
No, I
that
wouldn't
shit.
have been. No.
You would have not even been there.
No.
But no, you were there. Yeah, that was actually interesting.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's no way you were loaded. But yeah, I don't know if that was before or after, or I think maybe you had gotten sober for a moment.
Yeah.
And we did that. It was like something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was in and out, and I would, my relapses were short in the beginning, like maybe a month, and then they started getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
And then I would disappear longer and longer.
Yeah. I think, well, actually, no, I think one of the times when I really knew, I can't remember if this was before or after we had to leave the house. What house was that? I can't remember, but I remember that there was a Christmas where I think that, I can't remember what Kelly was like saying to us, but she was like telling us something like, she was like, okay, you guys can just open your presents now because like dad's not coming. And like, I was like, what do you mean dad's not coming? And I don't think she told us like what was happening. I think she lied and said you were like in Florida on some conference or something like that, and that you were hoping to be back in time. And so I can't remember if that was before or after, but that might have been before because I think I don't know if it was 2009 or 2010 Christmas.
It could have been, it was probably 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't well, and it would have been that house.
Yeah, and I think that I think that's when I knew, because I think even though she wasn't telling us, I think that was when
I mean, that would have
figured it
been
out.
right in the beginning.
Yeah.
My
Because I don't think there was another
I
Christmas
think
you missed.
more people, what people really would want to know though is like, when did you start feeling feelings about it, and how did those feelings feel? Because like the one thing that like connects human beings is we all know what it feels like to hurt, and like, I don't want our podcast to be surface at all. I want it to be deep and meaningful.
Yeah.
Because like that, and like, I have healed. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I still have worries and stuff like that, but I want to better our relationship, and part of it through this podcast.
Yeah.
And we've been through a ton together.
Totally.
And I know that I've hurt you, and that shit hurts me. And that's the truth, you know, because like I'm really sensitive human being, and like it's one thing if I hurt myself. It's another thing when I hurt, especially the people that I love, right? And I've hurt all of you guys, you know, including Cooper. I remember my last relapse. Cooper told his mom he didn't want to see me,
I didn't know that.
and that shit hurts, you know. And it only hurts because I know that I caused that pain,
Yeah.
and I've worked through this stuff, and I want you to be able to, you know, say whatever you need to
Truthful.
say. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I think when I was younger, I think I minimized it a lot, especially when I was 9, 10, 11, because Kelly would always say to me, like, I would say things like, why is this happening to me? And she would say things like, there's people who have it worse than you. Like, there's, so I feel like for a long time, I wasn't allowed to feel like these feelings that I had because, like, okay, there's kids starving in Africa, so what I'm going through doesn't matter at all. There's kids that are, their family can't put food on the table. So it was like for a long time, I felt like I wasn't allowed to have these feelings. But I think when I turned like 8 or 9 is when I got really into Eminem, and it was right around the same time that you had relapsed. And so a really big outlet for me was always music, and like I could connect to what Eminem was saying. I remember like back when MTV would do their music videos, and I would always have MTV music videos on like around that time. And I remember like running down to you and was like, because you always listen to rap music, and I was like, Dad, I just heard this rap song that I love. And you were like, who is it? And I didn't know who it is, and then we found out later that it was Eminem. And so Eminem like was like my drug, quote unquote, at that time, because that was like my outlet for everything that had gone on in my life. Because I was like, okay, this guy, his dad wasn't in his life. Okay, my mom's not in my life. His mom is on drugs. My dad is on drugs. So I could relate to him like so much. So I think that is something where I knew, like was feeling all these feelings, because I finally had something I could relate to, because I had never had that before. And then I think when it really, really started to affect me was probably when I was 14, because at that time it was like I didn't have Kelly anymore, and I just remember like I was like suicidal. Like I was like really like I just wanted to die, and I didn't really like know why, but I just knew that like I was always so scared that I was going to find you dead. And I always felt like I didn't have anybody to go to, because like I had my grandparents, but it was just like, it's just not the same, like, I don't know how to explain it, but I was in a really, really dark place, like a really, really dark place when I was 14. And I was smoking a lot of weed, so I started gaining a lot of weight, and that also really affected me too. So it was just like everything compiled together. And then I found Machine Gun Kelly's music, and that music at the time, he wasn't how he is now, but back then he was a rapper, and he, made songs about his addiction and his struggles in life, and he didn't have a mom, and his dad was an alcoholic, so I could also relate to him. And I don't know, I think that was the time when I just felt really hurt, and I wanted to make music. That's when at 9 years old, I wanted to be a rapper because I wanted to make music that people could relate to, because I could relate to Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly. They saved my life. I literally think I would have I probably would have killed myself if I didn't have them to kind of like relate to at the time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's the hardest part of all of it was after Kelly and I got divorced, after I finished drug court, because drug court was good, man. It was like, even though Kelly and I weren't together, but we had the house.
Yeah, that was a period of time where...
I mean, it was like, let me ask you a question, though, because that just brought something up.
Okay.
Remember I was in drug court?
Mm-hmm.
And remember we were... I believe I was just upstairs in my room getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to always, when it was just me and you and Cooper at the house. I mean, at that time it was just me and you, and Cooper was there on my
weekend.
days.
Yeah.
And, but I was up getting ready and somebody was banging on the door. Remember, they were banging on the door.
What?
And I didn't hear them. And you went down and answered the door.
Oh my God.
And it was like 7 sheriff's officers and my
Yes.
probation officer.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
And then I still didn't even.
Terrified.
I still didn't.
I was like, what? I answer the door and it's just like fucking 10 cops. I'm like, bro, what? What are you doing here?
Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah. And I was like, they're like, where's your dad? I'm like, oh, fuck. I had to go running upstairs. You're like shaving or some shit.
Yeah. I was like shaving my head. And then they had you sitting downstairs at the dining room table, and they brought me down in handcuffs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How'd you feel about that?
How does one feel? How does one feel about that? Fuck. It was pretty... I think I just felt like anxiety ridden. Like, I think I just felt it in my chest. Like, what's the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah.
Because you were doing good. So, like, I didn't understand, like, what was going on.
That was just one of the things that they do in drug court. My probation officer, shout out to Lori Dyer. She probably be grateful if she ever hears this podcast that I'm doing well and life is good. But like she was a no joke probation officer.
That day she told you I had to take all your security cameras down.
Yep. They were not happy. See, they thought that I was up there watching them on the security cameras and not answering. They were pissed, man. They tore my whole entire room apart. Yeah, it was
gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these things that happened during your, what I would call your important years, formative years, I think the most important years of your life, these are my biggest regrets. And it's from 14 till I got sober now.
Right.
And I know I put you through the ringer. I can think of a lot of stuff. I mean, there was many times where I was just home getting loaded and you were out running amok on the streets with your little friends, and you guys would come home. And I mean, it just wasn't even safe for your friends to be coming over to the house.
Oh, no.
Like
I remember there was time. Remember Alex?
Mm-mm.
Alex.
Yeah.
Well, I remember.
Shout out to Alex. Just put you on blast, buddy.
I know.
We'll bleep out his last name,
to
possibly.
Say his last name. Shit. I remember. I think he had knocked on the door or some shit, and like he was like, and the last time I had seen him, he was like doing good. He had drug test my ass, and then the next time I see him, he's coming to your house. I think he's like buying meth. He looks like shit. I've never seen him look so bad in his fucking life. I mean, to be honest
with you, he was probably bringing some meth and heroin or something. So good times. I do want to bleep out his last name though. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, no, but that's for real. Like, people were like, should not have been coming to our house, and you got people like him and fucking God knows
massive amounts of drugs. And I just want to be clear, I wasn't selling drugs. I relapsed, and I had money at the time, and so I was buying them. So because as I get crazy, like. From your perspective, what have you seen that seemed crazy? Like, I mean, you hear me tell the stories, and if you look at me, you'll look at my eyes and you'll be like, fuck, you look crazy as fuck. But you wouldn't know that I'm thinking that I worked for the CIA.
Well, it was even
Because I
worse
didn't
than
tell you that.
You would lock me out of the house because you thought I was an FBI agent in Aurora, like dressed as Aurora, like dead ass. He would take his court papers and he would burn them in his fireplace, like dead ass. And he would be like, I don't gotta go to court no more.
I'm not sure what dead ass means, but okay.
He would like literally, he would take the mortgage, the papers for the mortgage, the papers for his Lamborghini payments, and he would burn it all and say it was good to go.
So
it was paid. His court shit was over with.
I want to explain something here. When I'm in a meth-induced psychosis, I thought, well, if I burned it, it would get rid of all the records, not just the records that I had, but it would also wipe the records from the computer systems.
It was done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So needless to say, many, many times I would burn the gas bill, the electricity bill. And it's not that I couldn't pay them. I just didn't want to. I was like, I had a special power because, guys, you have to understand, I was working for the CIA. So,
of course, it could.
I thought there was special ink on my bills that if I burned them, because that's what the voices were telling me, that if you burn them, it'll also erase them from their computer systems because you are a CIA agent and you've got special powers. Also, so I want to finish right here because I don't like to go too much over. We'll keep it under 25, but I did lock her out of the house, and I want you guys to, like, I'm not proud of, these are not proud moments. These are
we're not glorifying.
Sad, disgusting times in my life. If you can't laugh about it, there's something wrong.
We can laugh about it now.
She was a teenager, and I'm locking her out of the house because I also would believe that the FBI had special morphing powers. And when I say this, think about the movie Men in Black, right? The FBI was actually aliens, and they could morph into, it would be an alien, they could morph into a person that looked just like my daughter, but it wasn't my daughter. And that is what my mind was telling me. Mm-hmm. So I would lock her out. And I'm going to end my part with one story about my parents, because I was at their house one time and I thought that they had morphed, the FBI had morphed into my parents. And I went over there. I had a Nerf gun, and I could also turn Nerf guns into actual laser guns that would incinerate people. So I came out and I was like, I'm going to ask my mom what my birth date is. And if she doesn't know my birth date, she is definitely an FBI agent who had morphed into her. So I walk out there and I say to her, Mom, what is my birth date? And she looks at me and she says, January 9th, 1975.
What's your birthday?
January 8th, 1974.
But the FBI would know your birthday first off. Your mom's more likely to fuck up your birthday than the FBI.
So I start shooting my mom and dad with my son's Nerf gun. I mean, I had it loaded and I was just poof, 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 poof. I was just blasting them. I want to tell you guys real quick how the night ended. My mom called the cops. The cops chased me through Laguna Niguel, through houses. They found me creeped inside some lady's house.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no good. Went to jail. That's the end. Yeah. You got anything left you want to say? End it?
I think we're good right here.
Good right here?
Yep.
Good. Episode 2. Done. See you next week, guys.
Episode 2.